Donald Trump's approval rating has plunged to one of its lowest points ever. A brand new Pew Research poll shows just 38% of Americans approve of his job performance. But here's the twist: of the polls show a very different story. So, is Trump sinking fast? Or is the media painting a distorted picture? Let's break down the numbers, compare them with history, and reveal what this really means for Trump's political future. Visual: Pew Research logo. Bar graph showing 38% approval over 60% disapproval. The headline comes from the Pew Research Center. Released August 14th. Trump's approval sits at just 38%, with 60% disapproving. That's a 9-point drop since February. Pew says the decline is mostly from Trump's own 2024 voters, and from Americans who sat out the last election. In other words, he's bleeding support from both ends of the political spectrum. Visual montage of pollster names: Morning Consult, Rasmussen, Economist, Gallup flashing across screen. But before you write Trump's political obituary, the picture is not so simple. Other polls show higher numbers. Morning Consult has him at 45% approval. Nate Silver's Silver Bulletin puts him at 44%. Rasmussen, often friendlier to Republicans, shows a split: 49% approve, 49% disapprove. And The Economist, they actually found a slight bump in his approval: 42%. Graphic: split screen comparison. Pew 38% versus Rasmussen 49%. This wide gap shows just how volatile and polarized Trump's standing really is. Visual: rising grocery prices, gas pumps, hospital bills, job seekers. What's driving these numbers? Across nearly every survey, Americans point to the same top concerns: inflation and prices, jobs and the economy, and healthcare. These issues consistently rank above foreign policy or immigration. For Trump, the challenge is clear: convince voters he can fix the economy, or risk losing support even among his base. Visual: a scrolling list of polls with upbeat background music. Here's where Trump stands across the latest major polls. Pew Research, 38% approve, 60% disapprove. Gallup, 37% approve, 59% disapprove. Reuters Ipsos, 40% approve, 56% disapprove. Research, 43% approve, 54% disapprove. Quinnipiac, 40% approve, 54% disapprove. Economist YouGov, 42% approve, 54% disapprove. Of Mercer College, 46% approve, 47% disapprove. Morning Consult, 45% approve, 51% disapprove. Rasmussen, 49% approve, 49% disapprove. Qantas Insights, 47% approve, 49% disapprove. In New York Times, 44% approve, 53% disapprove. In BC, 47% approve, 51% disapprove. Real Clear Politics Average, 46% approve, 52% disapprove. As you can see, Trump is hovering somewhere between 37% and 49%, depending on who you ask. A visual montage of past presidents' approval ratings side by side. So how does Trump stack up against history? Let's compare first-term approval ratings in their second year. Joe Biden in 2021, 56% approval. Barack Obama in 2009, 61%. George W. Bush in 2001, 54%. Bill Clinton in 1993, 41%. Ronald Reagan in 1981, 59%. Jimmy Carter in 1977, 63%. Richard Nixon in 1969, 63%. John F. Kennedy in 1961, a staggering 73%. And where was Trump in June 2017? Just 38%, the same number Pew reports today. Visual flashback: graphic: history repeats itself. In other words, Trump's approval has barely budged since his first year in office. Visual: ballot box, Congress, White House, media headlines. Approval ratings are more than just numbers. They affect whether a president can pass legislation, influence international negotiations, and, most importantly, win re-election. Analysts warn that if Trump stays under 40%, his chances of victory in 2028 could slip dramatically. But remember, our snapshots, not predictions. Visual: Trump speaking at a rally, crowd cheering versus protesters holding signs. So, what does all this mean? Trump's approval is fractured. Some polls suggest he's near a political low point, while others show him holding steady in the mid-40s. For Trump, the fight isn't just against Democrats, it's against the clock, the economy, and even his own voter base. Pause. Music softens, then builds. Narrator teasing. The question now is simple: will these numbers rebound, or is Trump heading toward the weakest approval ratings in modern presidential history? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on US politics and world news. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.